Joining me right now is California Congressman, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee and House Ways and Means Committee member, and author of the new book, Countdown to Socialism, Congressman Devin Nunes. Also joining the conversation all morning this morning, Dagan McDowell, and former senior advisor to the Clintons, the president of the Stagwell Group, Mark Penn. Great to have everybody this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Congressman Nunes, thank you so much for being here. I want to read
My
you
pleasure.
Kimberly Strassel's comments after Joe Biden and the Hunter Biden news. She says, why is Biden allowed to repeat that the facts about Hunter, as put out by the Senate committee with data from the Treasury Department, are discredited? Every newspaper has quoted the money Hunter took from Ukraine to China. It's all true. Even Hunter admitted it. And yet Biden stands there last night and says it was all debunked.
Well, look, Maria, it was a little bit of deja vu where you had Biden, essentially the avatar candidate, regurgitates talking points. And it was like being in an alternative universe. You had Biden still last night accusing Trump of having something to do with Russia. And meanwhile, no one in the mainstream media, including last night, pushed for Biden to answer the question. You've been attacking Trump and Republicans for having something to do nefarious with Russia for 4 years now, and he won't answer the question why his son took $3.5 million from a well-known Russian oligarch with ties to Putin. It's simply amazing that he's not pushed to answer that question.
It really is, Congressman. And of course, we got the Senate Intel report this week that showed that they wiped 29 phones in the Mueller investigation. And then this declassification last night from John Ratcliffe, breaking news that I first reported years ago about speculation that this was in fact the case. It's a bombshell. New Crossfire Hurricane documents released by DNI, John Ratcliffe. And Ratcliffe outlines it in a letter to Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham that Hillary Clinton approved a plan to link then-candidate Donald Trump to Putin and the Russian hacking of the DNC. The letter says that the Obama administration was briefed on the allegations as well. And here's what it says. On September 7, 2016, U.S. intel officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director Jim Comey and Deputy Assistant Counterintelligence Head Peter Strzok regarding, quote, U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private mail server. Of course, if you've been watching Devin Nunes, on my show, Sunday Morning Futures, or on all shows, you said this a long time ago. Your reaction to John Ratcliffe's declassifying this news?
Well, the only new difference now is that we now know that the top people in the Obama administration and the FBI knew about this investigative referral. That is new news. It is breaking. I think, to your point, it's something that we've known all along, that this was designed as some type of October dirty trick, some type of October surprise. It had all the markings of some type of disinformation operation, and we know that, Maria, simply because all you had to do is watch all the fake news reporters back in 2016 as they were regurgitating talking points that were always trying to take Clinton talking points and the DNC talking points and somehow nefariously tie Trump back to Russia. So that's how anybody who follows politics or watches these fake news reporters, you now know that's what was going on. The new part about this is now the top people in the Obama administration knew about it. And I think what we need to have now, it'll be interesting to see how Comey answers some of these questions today, but we also need to know that underlying evidence. Just where did that come from? Was it really ever investigated? Because, look, if you go back to that late 2016 timeframe, when that information comes to you as if you're in counterintelligence within the FBI, and you already have this circumspect investigation going on into the Trump campaign and into the Republican Party about ties to Moscow, you get something like that, it should have stopped immediately. It kind of shows that they had intent, that they had motive, that they knew about this, and somebody told them to either bury it or they decided to bury it on their own, because it sure would have blown apart the investigation that they opened up at the end of July. We're talking about all the way back in 2016, if you can believe it. And here we are, still last night, Joe Biden accusing Trump of having something to do with Russia. It's just preposterous.
It's unbelievable. Your Nunes memo back in 2018 laid it all out. You told the world what was really going on. You got attacked. I put you on my show repeatedly. I got attacked. Let me ask you about this situation and what is going to happen as a result. Congressman, I reported on Sunday that I'm hearing that, first of all, we're not going to get a John Durham interim report. That's not happening. And it's unlikely we're going to get indictments before the election, because there's this debate going on at the DOJ that if Durham comes out with his conclusions for the criminal investigation before the election, it might seem motivated by politics. Are we going to see accountability? And what do you make of now this new information that Durham has expanded his investigation to actually look at the Hillary Clinton email scandal as well?
So the answer is we truly don't know. I know that you have your sources, but I don't know that, because I believe that Durham is running a legitimate investigation. Compare this to what the Mueller team did with that whole witch hunt. You know, we knew every day there were new bombshell leaks, which now we know from the text messages, Maria, that came out just last week, that these FBI agents essentially knew at the time that, I think they used the term going from supposition to supposition, essentially chasing conspiracy theories from the FBI agents that were working on the Mueller team. Compare that to Durham. Very few leaks. The only thing we know from Durham is he's put one guy, has pled guilty, one of the main lawyers that was one of the engineers on this. As I've said before many times on your show, this is a huge, sprawling conspiracy that has to be unwound, because it involves people, every branch of our intelligence agencies, for one, including the Department of Defense, including whatever was going on over in England and the UK with that Cambridge group. And I know your viewers understand what I'm talking about, but this is a huge investigation. Look, I would like to see some type of interim report. I would like to know before this election, before we vote, what exactly the other side, the Democrats, were doing back in 2016. So, and I think the American people should know this. I mean, I think the DOJ has a responsibility. If there's something that they can show the American people before the election, I think they have a duty and responsibility to do it, because I will tell you, once you get past the election, there may be a bunch of people that get indicted, but you could have a lot of Americans scratching their heads saying, wow, I wish I knew that before I made my vote. And look, once again, you had to have Donald Trump had to bring this up last night directly to Joe Biden, because no one's asking Biden the questions of what was his involvement. President Trump said, why did you bring up the Logan Act? Biden didn't answer that question. I just want to, Maria, I don't know if you mind or not, but last night, Biden had very little content in that debate. Matter of fact, there were only two things that I could make sense of that he actually said of any consequence. One, he was going to raise the tax rate back up to 28%. Now, you know this. Before the tax cuts were put in effect, jobs were leaving overseas, so I guess that's going to continue. The other thing is that if you're in a Democratic-run state or Democratic-run city, we're going to continue to be on lockdown in those cities and states. That's Biden's plan to solve the coronavirus. I mean, come on. And then there was all these unanswered questions that Biden refused to answer last night.
Yeah, it's true. Let me bring Mark Penn in real quick, Mark, because you've run debate preparation. You've run strategy and analysis for presidents and numerous presidential candidates in the past. Do you think Biden got away with being able to dodge important questions, as the congressman's talking about?
Well, having done that, I thought Biden was incredibly well prepared for the debate, but I was really quite surprised that on the court packing question, the filibuster question, he was allowed to say, quote, answering the question would be a distraction. It seems to me that voters would want to know whether or not he's going to pack the court, and that would be a big issue that he handed the Republicans. I think Chris pushed Trump on the tax stuff, but didn't push Biden on the Hunter Biden stuff, and he quickly tried to change the topic. So I think there was a little moderator help going on here.
All right, moderator help. All right, listen, we'll take a short break. We've got breaking news on the other side. Congressman Devin Nunes, it's great to see you. Thanks so much.